Well, good evening and welcome to KORERO, your trusted political conversation platform where we dissect the pressing issues shaping Nigerians' governance and democracy. Well, my name is Godwin Sunday, and today we turn our focus to the state of the nation under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a discussion that continues to dominate both public and political cycles. Since taking office, President Bola Tinubu's administration has rolled out a series of bold reforms, from the removal of fuel subsidy to the unification of the exchange rate, new tax frameworks, and ambitious fiscal policies. Supporters call the step the necessary bitter pill for Nigerians' recovery, while critics insist the policies have only deepened poverty and widened the inequality gaps, better known as the egalitarian gap as propounded by Karl Marx. Well, as the cost of living and inflation continues to squeeze the average Nigerian, the big question remains, are Tinubu's policies delivering the promised economy transformation, or are Nigerians paying too high a price for reform? Well, joining me to unpack these issues tonight is Chief Chibunna Ubaike, and also we'll be having Jonathan Ashake, former president, also former gubernatorial candidate from the Labour Party. But well, just to set the record straight, that Chief Chibunna Ubaike is an APC chieftain and also a staunch businessman. Well, together we will x-ray the impacts, controversies, and realities of governance under President Bola Tinubu's leadership. Well, at this point, we'll ask you to please permit us to please demand that you stay tuned with us as we return to dive straight into the conversation. This is KORERO. Please don't go anywhere. The conversation is about to begin. Thank you. You're welcome back. Well, at this point, let's begin to delve into the conversation. But first, allow me to even welcome you, Chief Chibunna, to KORERO once again.
Thank you very much.
Well, Chief Chibunna, looking at the issue, let's delve into the business of the day.
Okay.
A lot of Nigerians have tend to appraise President Bola Tinubu's administration. For many, it is a fair. It has been on the fair side of all of these remarks, but then critics will also have their own say. But looking at all of his reforms and his policies, general agendas, what can you say about all of this?
Thank you. I give it to those that are not happy with the reforms, and those who criticize the reforms. It is up to them. It is quite understandable. Never in the history of Nigeria has any president undertaking structural reforms like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing. All we have seen before is cosmetic approach to issues, cosmetic approach to the problems we have. But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came and is taking a hardcore structural reforms that will reposition Nigeria. It is akin to what happened to China at the beginning of their development. At a time when China was developing, they shut their borders. No importation, nothing. Say, let us on our own suffer ourselves to produce what we can eat and export. China shut down everywhere. They suffered, they went through pain. But today, China is the best for it. They are enjoying. China is the largest economy, in the world today, and pursuing United States seriously to overtake them as the #1 economy in the world. It was the structural reforms they undertook years back that they are enjoying the dividend today. Most of the companies in the United States outsource their production to China and other places. It was not like that before. So what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing now is to lay a solid foundation for a better Nigeria. And that was why he said there are going to be pains, but after the pain there will be gain. So I give it to people that are complaining Everybody is complaining because all of us are feeling the pains because we have never undertaken a wholesale structural reform like he has done. That is why. So far so good. Mr. President has done well.
When we look at the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policies, it tends to be even on one side. All right, I'm not. I'm asking this in generality. Okay. It tends to be on one side, looking at the immediate implementation of some of his reforms. A lot of Nigerians within the lower cadre of the economy will disagree with some of his policies. But then let's get you to react. These policies, are they supposed to make the poor to become richer, or make the rich to become richer, or further impoverish the poor, looking at it in generality?
The reforms are undertaken to ensure that we have three classes of Nigerians. Those are the lower rung, the middle class, and the upper class. The reforms are not undertaken to impoverish Nigerians, especially those on the lower cadre. No, rather it is to empower them to come up to the middle class. There are policies and programs Mr. President has taken. Take, for instance, the minimum wage. Before it was 30,000 naira. Now it is 70,000 and above. There are other incentives he has, provided for those at the lower rung of the ladder to enjoy life. Take, for instance, come the January, when the new tax regime will take effect, those earning below 800,000 per year will not be within the tax range. They will not pay. Unlike what is happening now. These are things that are done to empower them. There are other policies and programs. What about in the health sector? He has made provision for people to go to government hospitals, especially pregnant mothers and the child, to go to hospitals and receive free healthcare treatment in government hospitals, not private hospitals. He has made provisions.
Across the country?
Across the country. Across the country. It has never happened before. Pregnant mothers and the children should go to the hospital, receive free treatment. What about in terms of those that are suffering renal issues, kidney issues, and whatever? He has subsidized the rate for dialysis and others. So there are provisions he has made for those on the lower rung. What about there are other incentives he has provided in terms of grants to people to empower them to do business. They are free, loan-free grants given to people to start their businesses so that they will have meaningful life to live and be able to enjoy a better standard of living. So his reforms are targeted at ensuring that every Nigerian, irrespective of the cadre you are in, enjoy a good life.
All right. I understand right now that we've been joined by Honorable Jonathan Sake, who is a former lawmaker and also the president of Southern Kaduna People's Union. Good evening, and it's so good to have you join us this evening on KORERO, Honorable.
Thank you. Good evening.
Conversation so far. Your own take. What do you make of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration so far in terms of its implementation on basic reforms in Nigeria?
Please, good evening. Let me just make a correction. I'm not the president of the Southern Kaduna People's Union. I am the former president, the immediate past president of the Southern Kaduna People's Union. Can you hear me?
Please go ahead. Please.
Yeah. So going by your question, the reforms of the president, I must confess, many Nigerians may not be able to understand exactly what is going on. The ordinary Nigerian will only want to see results. But what is cooking in the kitchen, he may not know exactly what menu. He wants to see result. He wants to see food on the table. And so when we talk about the reforms by this administration, we can only talk about what we see with our eyes and some of the things that the government is doing. Experts or analysts will say that they have to undertake some of these excruciating measures before finally people can enjoy good life. Like for instance, taking out the subsidy, it has been a very painful experience for Nigerians. And so Nigerians are still expecting the results over removal of subsidy, for instance. We can see the petroleum products prices have multiplied several times. So it's difficult to say now. So we're still expecting to see the results, in my own thinking.
All right, Honorable. Well, I know Chief Chibuna wants to quickly react to you right now, but Chief Chibuna, let's allow you react to Honorable quickly, because he has said Nigerians are yet to see the impact of all of these reforms.
Honorable Ashake, thank you for your contribution to the conversation. The results of the reforms, some we are seeing, some we are yet to see. But whether the results will come, yes, they will come. And what is the purpose of the reforms is for the betterment of Nigeria. We will experience it. Now, you cited the issue of the fuel subsidy. Nigerians are yet to experience, see it. Yes, if you compare what we are experiencing now, in terms of the fuel subsidy, the price has gone up. It is how it's supposed to be. Now we are living the real life. Previously, it was not so. We were deceived that fuel was selling at so and so rate. Meanwhile, government was bringing money that's supposed to be deployed to other sectors of the economy to make life better, to use it to subsidize for the fuel we are buying. And there was endemic corruption in that system, to the extent that government was borrowing money to, subsidize our living. You don't subsidize consumption like that now. So government has to take out the fuel subsidy. Let us buy. Remember, during the first subsidy regime, NNPC told us that we are consuming 60 million liters of fuel a day. It was 30 million liters, they said before. From 30 million, they went to 45 million, from 45 million to 60 million. We were asking questions. Which road were the trucks conveying those petroleum products passing through? Because the pipelines were not working. If you got to say that the former Controller General of Nigerian Customs had to challenge them in a National Assembly sitting, that it cannot be proved that we are consuming 60 million liters of fuel every day. Why did they inflate the figures? Because we are using it to, make Nigeria dry. 30 million liters, even up to now, I still say that Nigeria, we are consuming about 30 million liters. But let's give it to them that maybe we are consuming about 35 million liters. Then the other million liters, where does it go? They will take the money, collect subsidy money from the government, or on that rate of those amount of liters. They will still take the fuel away and sell and still make money. Government will borrow money and pay them. So now government took away the subsidy. What you bring, sell. If you can produce locally, produce. Let the market determine the price at which the products will be sold, so that if you can afford it, you buy. If you can't afford it, you wait. It is like that every other place. At least I've traveled a lot. So I'm coming. Now, if you watch from the time the fuel subsidy was taken away, the amount of revenue Nigeria is receiving and that is going to the states and local governments has quadrupled. The question is, those monies that our governors are collecting every month that has quadrupled, are they deploying it to the betterment, or for the betterment of the life of their citizens, people in their states? Those are the people who should ask the questions, not the Mr. President.
We'll come back to that. Let me get back to Honorable Jonathan. Honorable Jonathan, I understand that you are the former Kaduna State Union, and you've been able to champion certain issues around Kaduna State. But then, looking at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policies, how best has it translated, or have this policy been able to be translated in the core northern part of Nigeria? What is the reception so far? Has it been magnificently great in terms of the implementation? That's on one hand. On the other hand, looking at the policies and its blueprints, can one say at this point in time that these policies are realistic?
Well, you see, that is what I'm trying to say. For my colleague there in the studio, he is talking about removal of subsidy and all the technicalities, that follow it. But what the common man knows is that, for instance, when subsidy was removed during the Goodluck Jonathan regime, we had what we call Shopee, that was on the ground to explain the removal of subsidy, which was doing quite a lot in terms of road maintenance and other infrastructure, critical infrastructure. And when it was removed at a particular point in time, you remember the PTF that was headed by the late President Muhammadu Buhari and during Abacha. So if you look at all this, you see that something is always substantially on the ground to cushion the effect. But what I'm trying to ask is that what is there on the ground that is cushioning the effect, the very painful effect of implementing these policies, even though they may be in the ultimate interest of the nation. But of course, when it brings so much pain, when you put iodine on the wound, you must also, or you want to operate on somebody for him to get well, you must also apply some anesthesia so that the person, the pain will not kill the person. So that is what we're saying. But in terms of putting some things on the ground, I travel every time between Kaduna and Abuja, and that road, for the 8 years of the Buhari administration, it was left like that. And for these 3 years, that road is still staring us in the face. So the common person will want to see some practical things on the ground.
That there have been no practical implementation of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's reform in the Northeast, Northwest, and North Central in general.
Well, there is the Northwest Development Commission now that is in place. So I believe with time, we may begin to see some infrastructural development within the region. And so maybe if ultimately we have that, then that will be a very welcome development.
For 2 years, where will you place the administration's policy, especially as it borders on the entire northern region?
Well, the entire northern region, of course, we can see that there has been infrastructural development in some parts of the north. But I cannot talk for the entire north particularly, because since I come from a particular state. So what I see in the state is what I actually talk about.
To Kaduna, especially the road that you've mentioned to lead into Kaduna South. But then let me get Chief Chibuna to quickly react to some of the things that, of course, Honorable Jonathan have said that Nigerians have not felt really the impact of subsidy removal. But then, before you react to this, let's even look at President Bola Tinubu's reforms from holistically across the country. What is the implementational rate?
The rate of implementation of his policies and programs, nationally, I would say about 80%.
Well, I'm asking that question because I want to take it region by region.
Yes, I would say about. I will not say 100% because if 100% means perfection, which is absolutely impossible. So I would say 80%, nationally. The Honorable Ashake did talk about the Abuja-Kaduna road. Work is ongoing on that road now, like never before. And the quality of, construction going on there is a job that will, outlive many generations. It was not in the, a part of the project, schedule before. It is as a result of the reforms And for us to get value for our money, that Mr. President decided that such projects should be done, with such quality, and that it is being done now. At least I passed through that road. Work is going on there now. They are using the cement technology that lasts between 50, 100 years, without issues. It was not like that before. Remember, it was on that road that for the first time in Nigeria, that contract awarded to Julius Berger was revoked. No government in Nigeria has done it before. It is this government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that did that on that Abuja-Kaduna road, because they want value for money. In other sectors, the government provided the CNG, introduced the CNG initiative. Many vehicles, especially in Abuja now, drive on CNG. It is like that in many states. But the problem is we Nigerians. Some of the drivers and owners of the commercial vehicles that run on CNG still charge fares like those that run on petrol. Are you going to blame Mr. President for that? No. Now, he has provided also CNG buses that we also see. They made available stations where CNG people that want to convert to CNG conversion kits are made available.
Sorry to interject, but the president has a minister of transportation.
The minister of transportation will not be at every bus stop.
Responsible
he will not be at every bus stop.
Implementing certain decision or policy framework by the president.
Yes, and
along the whole value chain of ensuring that there is more implementation.
They have done that, but
so
they cannot be everywhere.
Well, if the CNG prices of buses that are applying the Kaduna route, the CNG buses are applying sorry to interject, but the CNG buses applying all of these routes are not subsidizing their prices, knowing fully well they acquire CNG at a very friendly price.
Yeah.
Who is supposed to be blamed?
You blame the Nigerian, that particular Nigerian that is doing that. So we, Mr. President, excuse me, will Mr. President be on the road to police the bus driver or the cab driver that is doing that? No. Are they not humans?
So the uniformity of price that has not been implemented by...
I'm coming.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Government has made provision for you. Say, choose this one is cheaper, so that you will charge people cheaper. That's the essence of introducing the CNG. It's an alternative.
But the price control that has not been implemented by the Transportation Ministry, it is as appointed by Mr. President.
It is an imperfect market. You cannot control the price. You cannot control what humans do. That is where patriotism and conscience of individuals comes in.
Is it a universal policy?
It is a national policy.
Universal policy.
National policy.
Well, let's take it to be universal policy.
No, it's national policy. We are talking about Nigeria. It is a national policy.
Yeah, you say it is. I'm asking, is it something that is obtainable all over the world?
All over the world.
Where price control for transportation cannot be regulated.
No. Listen, every country has its own peculiarity.
So Nigeria right now,
Nigeria
has saying that we cannot control price.
In an imperfect market, you cannot control price.
Well, looking at what makes the market imperfect?
It is
when the government that is supposed to be the umpire, it's supposed to be a laissez-faire.
Wait, it is imperfect because the market is not regulated. If it is regulated, you can fix the price.
Who is supposed to regulate the market?
Hold on. We are operating a deregulated economy in that aspect, in that sector. So you cannot fix price. The price fixing is between the provider of the services and also the beneficiary of the service. If you accept, that is where patriotism and the conscience of individual comes in. Government has provided an alternative which is cheaper. As soon as you that is choosing this one, you will provide cheaper services like the other person, using petroleum that his own cost should be higher. You shouldn't be charging me, what the person using petrol is charging me. That is where patriotism and conscience comes in.
All right. So Honorable Jonathan, I understand that you want to quickly react to this conversation right now. Please, let's get your take on this.
Well, I have given my take on it. Yes, like he said, I just passed through that road. I saw some equipment working, but like I said, the road has been there for a long time. So he knows more about the policies of the government, and probably, I don't know whether he's part of the government, but he knows more about tracking what government has been doing. But like I keep saying, we are looking at what we see on the ground. So it will be good news if this road is made, because we have so much hardship on that road, and some other roads all over the nation. So that is, to me, that is good news if that is happening.
Honorable Jonathan, let's even get you talk. In the last All Progressive Congress Summit held in Abuja, the person of the security advisor to the president, of course, came out to say that they've done magnificently well in addressing security concern. But then we know that Kaduna State has always been on the news when it has to do with insecurity bedeviling the state. How far has President Bola Tinubu's administration been able to address security concern, and has there been any improvement in the state?
Well, in the state, the improvement that we have had is that during my time as the leader of the Southern Kaduna people, from 2019 through 2022, in fact, it was almost an everyday affair that communities were attacked, people were massacred, across communities almost on daily basis. So we're making mass burials every time. And of course, kidnappings were also going on within the same communities. But now, with the coming of this very particular dispensation, the attacks across the communities has actually reduced. Not that it is not taking place. We still have attacks in KORERO local government and other local governments, but then it has reduced tremendously. The only thing that goes on is the kidnappings for ransom within the local communities. And some particular local governments are actually suffering for that particular issue of kidnappings. But in the final analysis, truly, the security situation has improved in Kaduna State.
In Kaduna South, President Bola Tinubu's administration and reforms has benefited Kaduna South to a very large extent. And right now, a lot of people can walk and sleep with their eyes closed.
Yeah, like I said, to a very large extent, not only in Kaduna South, the entire Kaduna State, because the normal attacks are no longer taking place. It's a clear departure from what we had in the dispensation before this, during the reign of the Buhari and Governor El-Rufai then, when we had all these perennial attacks and people were always being killed en masse in their communities. And what was most troubling at that time was the nomenclature that was used, that it was a farmers and herders clash. And of course, the governor at that time, whenever a community is attacked, the only solution he had was to impose a 24-hour curfew. If you remember the 2016 Christmas Eve killings, where over 800 people were slaughtered in one night in Jamal local government, he imposed a 24-hour curfew that ran to months. And so a case of double jeopardy, the victim was victimized the more. And so we no longer see that. So just that alone, the issue of security is very, very important in people's lives. Even if you don't give the people the infrastructure, if they have security, which is actually the basic provision in the Constitution, the basic reason why we have government in place, that when people are secured. And so now we are actually enjoying that to a very large extent. So we are happy that this administration, but they need to do more on the issue of security, because the present discourse now is about the same insecurity where the American government has is actually lending its voice in the insecurity across the nation, which is actually in a different platform now. But the issue of security is very important. And I think in Kaduna State, we're sensing some improvement.
Let's come back to Chief Chibunda. Well, Kaduna used to be one of the most interesting states in Nigeria, where we have a lot of insecurity. But the national special advisor to the president on security matters, the person of Nuru Ribadu, have come out to say that there have been improvement. Of course, Honorable Jonathan Ashake has confirmed the improvement. But can we say the same for all the states in Nigeria right now? What is the impact of a security concern as regard President Bola Tinubu's policies and reforms in the last 2 years?
I thank and commend the Honorable Ashake for saying the truth as it is. Some people will not, accept or agree, but the security situation in Nigeria has improved tremendously since the coming on board of President Bola Tinubu's administration. But it is a work in progress. More needs to be done. If not, completely abrogating insecurity, which is impossible because even in advanced economies, they still experience insecurity, but reducing it to the barest minimum nationwide. And the government is working towards that direction.
All right. Honorable Ashake, let's get you talk to us on the judicial concern across the country. Of course, we're looking at President Bola Tinubu's policies across board. When you look at the judiciary right now, are they better off compared to 2 years ago when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office?
Well, it all depends on where one is looking at judicial rights. But if you look at court judgments and the level of compliance, I will say, let me just, maybe you didn't mention it, that I contested the governorship of Kaduna State in the 2023 general elections under the platform of the Labour Party. And our party has been immersed in the serious struggles for leadership. And court judgments have been given severally to the effect that the former leadership, should give way because tenure has expired. But nothing has been done about it up till now. So it's like a deliberate thing, to cut down political parties so that will give rise to just a single party, that will feature in the next elections, which is actually a very terrible thing for our democracy. So when we talk about the judicial, activities in the country, this is one case, that we expect that, there should be some level of compliance, with court judgments. And so if you look at it, with other issues, that actually have a bearing on the security of this country. For instance, the issue of Nnamdi Kanu that everybody is talking about, everybody is getting surprised. Why is that young man being held there? Haven't, taken him from a different country and brought him here, and court judgments, they have, and nobody understands. It's like it's at the whims and caprices of some other hidden forces that is keeping that young man there. But if you look at other people that are making some reckless statements that should actually be immediately prosecuted, you see that they make those reckless statements and they go scot-free. Well, let me just give you an example. So in this country, when we talk about judicial issues, we talk about the rule of law, we talk about democracy, truly speaking, I don't see any level of compliance. And I'm afraid for this country. A preacher, an Islamic preacher, came on air, and it was all viral on social media, and said that for the fact that the president is a Muslim and his wife is a Christian, not only a Christian, that she is a top chief infidel by being a pastor, that she should be killed. Nothing happened in a sane country. In a sane country, this ought not to happen. And so when you look at it, juxtapose it with what is going on with somebody like Nnamdi Kanu, you'll be asking the question, so is the law applied to some people and not applied to other people? Shegumi has been making very reckless utterances, even in this fragile time that we are in. He said nobody should touch the bandits that have been killing soldiers, killing security agencies, killing intelligence agencies. Agents, killing people in their hundreds, kidnapping and collecting huge sums of money for ransom, making the country almost like in a chaotic situation. But this man will come on air severally and be defending them and say that they are children. They should negotiate with them instead of, going after them. So when you look at these people making this kind of reckless, so you say, is there a special pact that was made by this present administration, this present president, with these terrorists that is actually hindering this administration from apprehending this kind of people that are almost plunging this country into chaos, and then directing the laws at another section? You can see the kind of hatred being spewed at the Southeasterners, the Igbos in this country, as if we're not in the same country, with arrogance, with impunity. So when you look at it, you will say that it's like the law has two sides in this country. The rule of law is almost being abused, and we're likely going to, if we continue on that track, that somebody will commit some very serious and grave offenses in this country, and they will turn the other side. But when somebody comes, then they will track him down and continue to chastise that person. If we continue on this track, I'm afraid of what the future of this country will be.
Thank you so much for that. Let's get you, if you want to speak to this. Of course, I know Honorable Ashake has struck a lot of nerves, even touching the southeastern part of Nigeria and Nnamdi Kanu and all of those policies. But let me get you react to President Bola Tinubu's policy and its impact in terms of the judiciary.
The problem we have in Nigeria today is that when a court gives a judgment that favors us, we applaud the court, we applaud the judiciary. And when it does not favor us, we begin to criticize the judiciary that they are not working. This, that. And if we continue with that mentality, it will not lead us anywhere. When we go to court, adumbrate our cases, and our lawyers represent us, who present the facts and whatever we have, and the judge, based on the facts before him, gives a judgment. We have opportunities to, if it doesn't favor us, we either appeal that judgment to see if we can get a favorable judgment. If we get to appeal court and it is still against us, there is the last window, the Supreme Court. We proceed to the Supreme Court. If it does not favor them, we know we don't have a case. But the problem we are facing is that when a judgment is given against us, we begin to criticize the judiciary. Government has bought them. This, that. That is what we, especially when it has to deal with politically exposed persons, people from different political parties. It is not good. If we cannot develop like that, let us have a right mentality. I want to cite an instance. PDP is scheduled to have a convention in Ibadan, on the 16 and 17, or about 15 and 16 of this month. There was a court judgment, Federal High Court judgment in Abuja here, stopping the convention. And then some people went to an Oyo State High Court to get another judgment that tells them to go ahead with the convention. These are courts of coordinate jurisdictions. If a state high court cannot sit on appeal on a federal high court judgment, the opportunity left for those people was to, appeal the judgment of the federal high court.
Were they served?
They were served.
The PDP have alleged that they were served. They were served on the media platform.
Excuse me, they were served. See, it is politics. I'm giving an instance. Allow me to. They were served. INEC was served. All the parties, after all, their lawyers were in court because it was not an ex parte order. It was a judgment that the substantive, a case was, determined and judgment given. Now, they went to another court and obtained judgment, and they were applauding that court judgment they got. Imagine they have obeyed, followed as it's supposed to be, appealed this judgment, followed that process. That is what is supposed to be done. But they went to get another order of the court, or court of coordinate jurisdictions, to conflicting judgments. Who are the ones doing this thing? It is we Nigerians that are doing it. We shouldn't put the blame squarely on the judiciary. It is the mentality and disposition of Nigerians that I want to be the person, I want to get everything at all costs by hook or crook, that is causing the problem. Now he delved into the issue of Nnamdi Kanu. He doesn't have the facts of the case. He doesn't have the facts of the case. The case went to appeal court. Appeal court gave the judgment that he should be released, right? Federal government appealed that judgment to Supreme Court. Supreme Court gave judgment that yes, there are some charges against him. The Supreme Court quashed it, but that he still has a case to answer. So that one that he has case to answer should be remitted back to the Federal High Court for him to face the trial. That was the judgment. When they are talking about appeal court, he forgot to talk about the Supreme Court judgment. Does the appeal court judgment override the Supreme Court judgment? No is the answer.
Well, today is a very good day not to talk about Nnamdi Kanu's case, but let's focus on President Bola Tinubu's policies in general. So let's come back to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, Honorable Jonathan, are you still there?
Yeah.
The policies around entrepreneurship and youthful development. How will you rate President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policies in a scale of 1 to 10?
You see, truly, I'm not a government official to be rating government in this matter. Let me be very frank with you. The issues that affect me today, the issues that affect every Nigerian today, we must not pretend about it. It's not the grammar that
I think we lost Honorable Jonathan Shaka at that point, but then let's bring it back to you.
A lot?
A lot needs to be talked about.
I am back. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah. So let's be very frank. When we have this kind of special time, let the people in government rate the government. But the general population of Nigerians, the citizens of Nigeria, want to see results. They want to see food on the table. They want to walk to a pharmaceutical chemist and be able to afford medication that can cure their little ailments so that they will be strong enough to go to their farms. These are the issues. But when we continue to talk about rating the policies, who understands policies? Policies can only be understood by policymakers and policy analysts. And but the average Nigerian, and I fall into this category of the average Nigerian. Let me tell you, what is on the front burner today is the existential threat of sections of this country. So when we have this precious time, we dedicate it to look at the issues that are on the front table. To me, that is what matters most. We are talking about a situation where there is a debate on whether there is a genocide or no genocide, whether the American government.
Well, I think we lost Honorable Shaka, but then let's even bring this to you. Looking at President Bola Tinubu's administration, President Bola Tinubu has always been known, even while I was growing up in Lagos, to be one entrepreneurial governor. But then, I don't want to be his mouthpiece at this point, but in terms of rating, how will you rate his economic policy as it affects the Nigerian youth in general?
His economic policies, for the youths, is encouraging. He has made provisions for, programs and policies that, has direct bearing on the youth, making funds available, providing trainings for the youths, like in ICT, the Ministry of Communication and whatever, is doing a lot in that regard. Many youths, of Nigeria today are trained on AI, cybersecurity, software engineering, and just name it. And many of them, after training, are provided with the funds to start up their businesses. He is creating a generation of entrepreneurs. This is this government. It has never happened before. The National Director of Employment that was moribund over the years, he has resuscitated it. And they started the program, geared towards making our youth self-reliant and becoming job creators and employers instead of job seekers. This government is doing it. There are other areas in agriculture. He has made so much funds available for the youths. Even there is a program going on now for the youths in agriculture between the ages of 18 and 35. This government has made it available. It behoves the youth to choose which area they fit in and that they can, give in their optimum performance for them to tap in and benefit from the programs and policies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government that is tailored and targeted towards the youth to make them self-reliant, self-sustaining, job creators and employers instead of job seekers.
Interesting. When I hear you speak about President Tinubu, sometimes I get so jealous. If perhaps I should leave the media field for another field, because one would say that Chief Chibuna has been a die-hard
yes, I'm a die-hard supporter of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Yes, I owe no one apology about that.
Well, you need to owe us an apology because the next time you speak about President Tinubu with such passion as this, we will have to ask you and forward a voucher to President Bola Tinubu and the APC team.
What I'm doing is, pro bono. I'm not paid for it. I'm not a spokesman, but I am doing it out of patriotism and commitment to the policies and program of my party.
The way you're passionate about always talking about President Bola Tinubu. Yeah. So the next time you speak passionately about President Bola Tinubu of this nature, I think we have to write a voucher to the APC office and also President Bola Tinubu to at least do the needful.
For you.
This is free. This is a free advert on President Bola Tinubu's
I'm not advertising him, brother. I am explaining to Nigerians what Mr. President is doing for Nigerians for their betterment, as against the falsehood that they have been fed with, and that some of them are running with. Well, a lot is happening in the economy in the country that is for the betterment of Nigerians. I was talking about health the other time. Do you know that Mr. President has removed import duty on drugs? I heard Honorable Ashakedi say what they want is when they can walk to a medicine shop and buy drugs and whatever. Mr. President has removed import duty on drugs. So now if the importers bring in their drugs and sell at a higher cost, is it Mr. President you are going to blame? Initially I said patriotism and conscience has a lot to play in the way we Nigerians do things and transact our businesses.
Chief Chibuna, again, you are towing the path of a free advert for President Bola.
I'm not. You're asking me about his policies and programs.
Well, no challenge.
You're asking me about his policies and programs.
I think it's high time we
let me give you another one. Let me give you another one. No, let me give you another one. Well, let me give you another one. Do you know, before this time, civil servants have about 10 or 12 million naira ceiling as housing loan. Now, Mr. President has increased it to 25 million. And the renewed Hope housing program is going on in many states of the Federation for the lower income earners, the middle income earners, and the upper echelon. Who has done it before, Mr. President? Before this time, the Federal Housing Authority was not funded. But Mr. President has funded the Federal Housing Authority to ensure that they deliver mass housing for Nigerians.
Well, Chief Chibuna, if we allow you to go like this,
in agriculture, a lot of programs he has done on infrastructure.
I'm being told right now that our time is fast spent and we need to rush out of the studio while we send our voucher to the APC headquarters for all unnecessary expenditures. But thank you so much for finding out time to be with us today on the show.
Thank you.
Well, we also want to thank Honorable Ashake Jonathan for also being with us on the show from Kaduna State. Well, viewers, this is how far we can go on KORERO tonight. Don't forget that you can follow us across all our social media handles currently showing on your screen. And you can also download the Rapid TV app from your Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. My name is Godwin Sunday. Always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now.